Okay, we are ready. So let's start hands and knees today, because otherwise I can't touch my toes. So we're just going to do a few cat-cows to start. So hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Spread your fingers wide and squeeze your forearms in toward each other. On your inhale, lift your chest, lift your sitting bones. And on your exhale, draw your belly in toward your spine and lift your mid-spine toward the ceiling. Next inhale, start to relax your glutes, lift your butt up toward the ceiling. And see if you can use Mula Bandha to initiate. Draw the sitting bones in toward each other and down. Inhale to arch. Just do 3 more like this. If you can go slow and do it from the deeper core, you might have an easier time later doing some other shenanigans. Once we get upside down or in a back bend, sometimes we forget about these deep core muscles. So a nice simple pose like this just helps us turn them on. Okay, after your next inhale, let's push to downward dog. And just pedal the feet so that each heel can get closer to the floor. Okay, settle in to your downward dog and just come forward maybe like 6 inches. So you have more weight in the hands and it's not downward dog because your arms are more stacked. And just stay here for a sec. There's much more weight in the hands now, so it might be harder to keep your arms straight. You have to be more diligent about squeezing your forearms together. Just take 1 more breath, see if you can draw the belly in. And press to downward dog again and notice, it's so much easier because the feet are taking some of your weight. Let's start to walk the feet forward toward the hands. Whenever you get there, inhale to arch. And exhale. About hips, place the hands on the lower thighs. And we'll just do some cat-cows from here. Inhale to arch, pull yourself through, and exhale to round. You'll have a different relationship with Mula Bandha and Uddiyana Bandha here. And so you can still initiate from those places, but when you start to tuck your tailbone under, you feel your glutes working, you feel the belly back. Not just making the shape, it's trying to make. Okay. So the next time you're passing through neutral, stay there and just straighten the legs. Come to the top of the mat again with the feet together. Inhale to reach up. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale halfway up. And stepward jump, chaturanga, exhale. Upward facing, inhale. Downward facing, exhale. Let's rock forward to plank for the inhale. And then find that weird pikey thing for the exhale. So your hips are up, but your weight is still forward. And come into plank again, the hips will come down. And see if you can hoist yourself up as if you have a belt being pulled up to the ceiling. And just do a few like that. There's a lot of weight in the hands, so if it's too much on your wrists, either just go to downward dog or maybe try it from your forearm so that you don't end up with any wrist pain. The next time that you're piked up, push back a little more and turn it into down dog so your feet take some of the weight out of your arms and it's maybe a little more comfortable. It's definitely more familiar, but it's physically easier also. Okay, start to walk your feet forward or jump, I don't care, however you get there. Inhale and fold, exhale. Find your Utkatasana again. Knees bend, arms up. And let's separate the feet and again put the hands on the lower thighs. I'm just going to pull my shirt up and my pants down. We're going to do that Uddiyana Kriya. So keep your hands on your thighs. I'm going to just put my hands back here so you can see better. We're going to exhale completely. Now we're going to contract. And we'll let the contraction go so that we can inhale, because we can only hold our breath out for a few seconds. Exhale. And again, contract. And whenever you need to inhale, you let the contraction go a few inches. You'll notice I can't talk when I've contracted. But all the flesh and the organs start to lift up toward the ribs. You'll get real skinny from the sides. If this is easy for you, try to flutter it. Or you can try to do it with your legs straight. You can also feel around, because it's kind of interesting how narrow you get at that top of the contraction. So just take one more. And let it go enough that you can breathe in, but not all the way to a fully relaxed situation. And that's sort of ideally what we're holding through a yoga practice. Okay, so top of mat, feet together again. Inhale. And fold, exhale. Halfway up for an inhale. Step or jump, chaturanga, exhale. Upward facing, inhale. Downward facing, exhale. That Uddiyana Kriya that we just did, you could do it 10 to 20 times in the morning before you have any coffee or water. And it doesn't have to be a big deal. It only takes a couple minutes. Okay, let's lift the right leg up high. Inhale. Step forward to the hands. Exhale. Lower the back knee. Steeple mudra. Reach forward and up for your inhale. And exhale the fingertips down. Inhale to straighten your right leg any amount. Exhale to bend the leg again. Reach forward and up. Inhale. This is Asana with steeple mudra. Exhale to lower the fingers. Inhale to straighten your right leg any amount. Your fingers will travel back. Exhale to bend the leg. Just one more time. Steeple mudra, Asana. The hips are dropping. Fingertips down. Exhale. And we'll keep leaning forward as we straighten the leg, however straight it gets. And we'll bend the leg and just step to plank. Let's meet in plank. You can always put your knees down for plank. And let's try to think of bringing our belly up away from the ground, defying gravity. And let's keep that as we come all the way down onto our belly. So even when you land, think of your belly button lifting up off the mat. And untuck the toes and just curl into a little cobra. And it's more of a visual thing. I mean, our bellies are going to be on the mat, let's get real. But if you think of lifting it up, you're going to use the core strength more effectively. Okay, lower to the forehead again. Reset your neutral pelvis, so pubic bone down, belly button up. And curl the toes and press to plank. And just stay there for a moment. Make sure that the belly is defying gravity. Waistline lifts to the ceiling. And press to downward dog. And left leg up high. Inhale. Step forward. Exhale. Right knee down. Anjaneyasana. Inhale for steeple mudra. We reach our fingers away from our front knee. Exhale, fingers down. Straighten the left leg some amount. Exhale to bend. Inhale to reach up and back. Dig your left heel into the floor. Exhale to lower the fingers. Straighten the leg. Inhale. Exhale to bend. One more time. Inhale, chest up, throat open, fingers down, exhale. Straighten the leg, inhale. Bend the knee, exhale. Let's step to plank again. Feel free to put the knees down, especially if you feel like your hips are sagging. It's much more fun to not have the hips sag, so it doesn't hurt as much. And let's slowly come all the way down to the belly. Bring your arms out to the sides, like cactus arm, and place the forehead down. We're just going to lift the forearms and the arms up, and then lower them down. So our body is not changing. Just do this a few times just to activate your upper back muscles. Pretty easy, unless you have shoulder injury, and then it's crazy hard. If you have an injury and you go to PT and they ask you to do this, you might not be able to. Okay, this next time we're going to push the pubic bone down and lift the chest and shoulders up along with the arms. And we're going to try to get our elbows as high as our wrists. Draw the belly in. We'll stay lifted like that. We'll just place the hands down next to our chest and curl up a little bit higher, high as you want, and we'll meet in downward dog. Take 2 more breaths here. I'm going to adjust my pants because I had pulled them down earlier to show you Uddiyana Kriya, and now it's cold. All right, so from downward dog, let's lift the right leg up high, inhale, and step to the hands, exhale. Steeple Mudra high lunge, inhale. Fingertips to the floor, exhale. Straighten the right leg however much, inhale. And bend the knee again, exhale. So obviously it's the same as before, just that your back knee is up, inhale. Maybe that means your balance is harder. Exhale, fingers down. Or maybe it means now you need blocks under your hands. Inhale, straighter right leg. Exhale, bend the leg. One more time, dig your right heel into the floor. Inhale, squeeze your thighs together. Fingers down, exhale. Straighten the right leg, inhale. And bend the right leg, exhale. Let's place the palms flat and go to 3-legged plank. So this right leg is just going to slide back. And pretend someone is holding your ankle. Your foot can be pointed or not. We're just going to press to 3-legged downward dog. And then return to 3-legged plank. And we'll just do that 3 times. So the arms stay straight. And ideally the legs stay straight. And the next time you wind up in 3-legged plank, just lower the foot and bend the elbows to Chaturanga. Inhale for upward facing, and we'll meet in downward facing so that we can do all of this on the other side. Left leg high, inhale. Step forward, exhale. So the toes line up with the fingertips. If when you step forward, your foot is back here somewhere, just pick it up and move it, because you need your lunge to be pretty long. Inhale to reach up, steeple mudra. Exhale, hands down to either the floor or the blocks. Inhale, straighten the left leg, swing your left hip back. Exhale, bend. Inhale, rise up. Hopefully there's not too much wiggling in the legs. Exhale to lower. Inhale to straighten. And exhale to bend. One more time, as smoothly as you can. The hips will be always squared in this particular thing. The next time that you wind up with your left leg bent, just place the palms flat. Keep your shoulders where they are, so they're already over your hands, over your wrists, and just send the left leg back to your 3-legged plank. So all that moved was that left leg. On your next exhale, 3-legged downward dog. And then three-legged plank. And again, pressing back, like someone is pulling on your left leg. And rocking forward, your fingertips are gonna help pull you forward. One more time. And this little sequence ends in the plank shape so that we can lower the left foot and then bend the elbows. And then cycle through vinyasa, nice and normal. And we meet in downward dog. Let's lift the right leg up high, inhale. Step forward, exhale, and find your warrior two. I'm gonna spin around. So warrior two is right foot facing front, left leg facing the side. Let's just put the hands on the hips, because chances are good that the hips are going out in the diagonal. So with your left hand, literally move your left hip back, right hip forward, and see if you can push this right knee to the right a little bit more, just into space. Then reach the arms out, try to maintain what you have. Memorize what you have. And on your inhale, straighten your right leg. Exhale, return to where you were. Just do that 2 more times. If you find that the hips are wiggling a lot, just put your hands on the hips again and give a little gentle encouragement. Okay, the next time that you wind up in your warrior two, we'll place the forearm on the thigh, and we'll reach the left arm over the ear. I'm just gonna stay here for 2 breaths. We're gonna change it in a sec. Think about your back leg, get it really straight and strong. Then think about your front heel. Dig it down into the floor, so much so that your right arm now can come up. If your right leg feels compromised in any way, put your forearm on your thigh again. Okay, hands to the floor. Step back, vinyasa. Make sure your right hip still works, because that was really hard. And we'll meet with our left leg in front for warrior two on the other side. Heel to arch alignment. If you are tight, your feet would be a little closer together. This shin bone is still vertical. So not like this, with the knee over the toes, knee over the ankle. But as you get more open, foot slides back. And then you have 90-degree bend here. So hands to the hips, adjust as needed. And we'll straighten the leg for an inhale. And bend for an exhale. If you don't need the hands on the hips, reach out, engage the triceps. One more breath like this. John, move your waistline back a little more toward the window behind you so that you're not so back bending. Yes. Okay. Forearm to thigh, right arm over the ear. So we have our shin bone vertical, helping to hold us here, and our left hip moving underneath us. So that would feel like a little corkscrew spiraling up toward the ceiling. When that left leg feels strong enough, reach the left arm out. It's a lot for that left hip. So you can always do a breath out and then a breath in. Take 2 more. And we'll lower the hands. Vinyasa. I'm going to regret that later because that was really hard. Okay, right foot forward again. Inhale to reach up. And let's just lower the left knee toward our Chandrasana. And then lift the back knee again to that high lunge. And just do that 2 more times. And if your back knee does not feel nice on the mat, just don't go all the way down. Just go part way. Okay. We're going to meet in warrior two again. So after your ascent, open up, adjust your feet so you have that heel to arch, and straighten the front leg for triangle pose. You might want to creep your left foot in a little more. Reach out and down. And for this one, let's bring our top arm behind the back. The hand may or may not get all the way to your thigh, but we're going to practice pushing our waist into our forearm. Because sometimes this happens and we lean forward a bit. If we can push back more, we'll find that we're a little more aligned, we can breathe bigger, we can see the ceiling more clearly. Okay, let's rise up for an inhale, rebend the right leg, and change sides with either stepping back or jump change, your choice. We wind up somehow with the left leg in front. And when you get there, arms up. On the exhale, bend your right knee, possibly all the way down. Inhale, high lunge again. Exhale to bend the knee. Notice it's tempting to open the hips to a diagonal. Don't do that. Come to high lunge. It's very easy to square. Try to keep that squareness as you one more time lower the back leg and then lift. Okay, open up to warrior two. Heel to arch alignment, straight left leg. Adjust your stance if you want. Inhale to reach out. Exhale to lower the hand. So the idea here is to corkscrew the twist so that we can face our gaze up nice and easy. But often we end up with our ribs sticking forward. So bring that right arm behind the back. And as you press your waist, the back side of your waist into your arm, your ribs are going to tuck in, the front ribs. And then you'll find it's very comfortable in your back. Okay. Let's release the hand. We'll rise up. And we'll meet with our right leg in front. So hands down, make a game plan. How do you want to change your feet? Any way is fine. We're going to have that right leg in front so that we can reach up, inhale, and open up to warrior two, exhale. So we'll start with the left arm behind the back again, but we're going to take it into Ardha Chandrasana. So it will feel very much like your triangle pose. With your left arm behind you, you have this built-in alignment checker so that you're not overarching or sticking your ribs forward. Your right leg can be bent if you need it to touch the floor better, or you can lift your hand onto a block and bring the floor to you. Okay, unravel, square the hips to the floor, and bend your right knee enough to get your palms flat, but they're not going to be right next to your foot. They're going to be like 12 or 18 inches in front of your right foot. Once your palms both are flat, you're just going to do a few little hops toward your handstand. So your left leg was already in the air. It's going to keep reaching up. And your right leg will just give you a little push. And then let's meet in downward dog whenever you're done with that. Miss Bailey, were you putting your glasses on to see me or something else? She's either reading emails right now. All right. Okay, so we'll do all of these things on the other side. So left foot forward, we'll rise up and open it out for our Ardha Chandrasana. So right arm comes behind first. It's just a little easier to get your grip situated. And extend your left side body out. I'm just going to back up on my mat so that I don't fall into the cat tree. So if you can, gaze up. But more importantly for right now, think about pressing your waist into your arm. And Miss Carol, roll your right shoulder back more. Yes. Good. So we'll just unroll that arm, square the hips down. Keep your right leg straight, so it's like you're kicking toward the wall behind you. Palms flat. So we're all going to bend that left knee a different amount in order to get the palms flat. And we'll just lean forward. You can keep your left foot on the ground if you want, or little hops That right leg is reaching, and the left leg is pushing. And we're going to try to keep our arms straight. When you've had enough of that, we'll meet in downward dog. Okay, right foot forward. Creep the hands forward. Again, Ardha Chandrasana, but this time we're going to hold our left foot or ankle with that left hand. Or with a strap if your arm feels too short. Possibly your right hand is on a block. Possibly your right knee is bent. And let's try to kick our left heel away from our butt a little bit more. Okay, let's unravel, square up to the ground, and step back with that left foot. And then we'll do a similar stretch, but with the back knee on the ground. So pad up with a couch pillow if you need to. Just reach your left hand for your left ankle. And let the heel move away from your butt, just like you did. And then if you don't need your hand there for balance, reach forward and up. Take 2 more breaths here. So purely by letting your heel move away from your butt, you're getting a great stretch through your hip flexors, your chest, your shoulder. Okay, let that go. And either vinyasa or downward dog. Okay, left foot forward. Ardha Chandrasana, right leg up. Right arm up, and when you can, find your ankle or your foot and kick. The kicking might make you feel like you're about to fall backwards. So to counter that, you need to move your left hip under you more and press into the ball of your left foot. Even if your left leg is bent, same rules apply. Get your heel another inch or so away from your butt. And then let's undo the hand so that we can square the floor and step to a lunge. So as you're stepping back, it's a big reach with that right leg. Then the knee comes down and the hand comes back. When you can balance, reach out and up. And draw up from the core, the low belly, just like you did very early on when you had easy poses like cat-cow. Remember how strong you were then. Let's slowly unravel and vinyasa. So we want to keep in mind that these flexible poses are not only about flexibility. We need to keep some integrity and some restriction is not the word I want. I will think of the word I want later. Okay, let's grab hold of our straps. I left mine over here off camera. Okay, Anjaneyasana, right leg in front. Pad up your back knee however you need. We're going to have a nice long strap. We're not going to try to touch our foot just yet. We're going to loop it on that back foot. And we're just going to get our left elbow to face front. When that's comfortable, without much change in the plane of your arm, lift the elbow up. And then the right arm will take the same kind of path. Forward, then up, and then the elbow bends. So it's not going to be out to the side trying to adjust this shoulder with the elbow sticking out. That's really hard to do. So you're keeping on this narrow plane so that you can let the hands walk back comfortably. and slowly let that go. And let's just change sides. And once you're situated, you'll start to deal with your elbows again. We get excited about something such, it's kind of a big pose, it looks really fancy. So we start to rush into it, but we need to remember hugging the legs in, and then that right elbow close to the body, then it goes forward, then up. Our strap is as long as we need it to be. And when we can, the left arm forward, then up, then just bend the elbow without moving the elbow. Doesn't swing out to the side at any point. To make this deeper, you just bend your front leg more. So there's sort of no end to how exciting you can make this. Okay, let's slowly get out of there. Let's vinyasa so that we can sort of shake it out, recover from that. Let's step the right foot about halfway forward so that it's pretty centered on the mat. And just lift your left leg up toward the ceiling. Point the toes, stack the hips so the leg goes higher than normal. And when you feel balanced, the right hand is going to reach for that left foot. Your left hamstring is going to work to bring your foot to your hand so that there doesn't have to be a whole lot of effort or wiggling to get it. Once you have your grip, you're going to point your knee up toward the ceiling and start to drop your head toward your right shin bone. So it's a pretty big forward bend on one side and a back bend on the other side. Okay, release the right hand to the floor. Bend both knees and bring your left knee pinky toe side of right foot. For Ardha Matsyendrāsana, or I'm just going to go kind of halfway to it, but if you know the full pose, by all means do it. So we're going to hug that knee to the left shoulder. We'll look back over the right shoulder. We're going to try to lift ourselves up pretty tall. The right fingers pushing into the floor is going to help make that happen. Either stay here or put your left elbow outside of the right leg and push the right leg back into that zone that you cannot see. And then you'll feel more of a stretch through your right hip. Okay. Let's untwist. We already have our right foot on the floor, so we're just going to keep it like that. Shift your weight forward so now you can stand on that right foot again. Palms flat, about 12 or 18 inches in front of your toes. Bend your right knee till your palms can get flat. And just take your hops again toward your handstand. And this time when your right leg lifts, think about plugging the leg into the hip socket so that you have a better shot at an L shape. And then we'll meet in downward dog when you've had enough of such things. Okay, left foot about halfway forward. Lift the right leg up. Stack your hips so the leg goes higher than otherwise. And reach your left hand for the foot. Right hand could be anywhere you need for balance. As you get more comfortable here, right palm flat with the fingers lining up with toes. So it sort of imitates forward bend from primary series. Great practice for balance. If you keep lifting through your right knee, you'll find balance is a little easier. We can take that little tidbit with us to handstands. It's a lot of lifting up. So let's unravel that right leg and then curl into our twist. So that right knee comes outside of the left foot, and then we sit. We might sit on a block. We might decide to straighten the right leg. That would be fine. And we twist to the left. Left fingertips close to your butt. Tall spine. Oh, Charlie, hello. Charlie is winning. Oh my gosh, Charlie is winning in life right now. So either keep your hand there or twist further and push your knee now over to the right. And Carolyn, go like 4 more inches if you can, pushing your knee. Good. Okay, and let's slowly unravel. And now that you all can see your screen, of course, Charlie walked away, but he did leave his toy, so you could see how silly he was. Okay, let's stand on our left foot again. Right leg up. Palms flat. Shift your weight forward so that you're in this zone of discomfort. And as soon as you shift your weight, your fingers are going to catch you. You'll actually see them spider to catch you. And when you feel like it, take it up toward your handstands. Think of plugging the left hip into the socket. The right leg reaching up, the left hip pulling in. And we'll meet in downward dog. When you get there, shake out your neck. Let's step our right foot forward for Anjaneyasana, with a side bend for the left side body. So I'm going to face you just for now. So right hand can be on the thigh or on the floor out to the side. Left arm up and over. And we'll just take 3 breaths like this. Then we're going to do something else with the arms. Reach through the fingers. Okay, return to your center place. Reach both arms up. Take hold of opposite elbows. Pull the elbows back. And then a little side bend. So it might not be as grandiose because now you do not have your right arm out there catching you. You're going to think of lifting your left elbow up and away from your left hip. Okay, and we'll rise up. And final one, Gomukhasana arms, left arm will be on top. So the right arm is going to roll forward. Bend the elbow so your knuckles go by your shoulder blades. Left arm up and over. And this might be another thing where you go strappy. For me, straps are confusing sometimes, so I tend to just use my shirt. But you could do this. And then when you're situated, lean. Reach through your left elbow. Bend your right knee more. And just enjoy this stretch for your left psoas and hip flexors. Okay, and slowly get out of there. Oh lordy. And let's meet in downward dog B. Ooh-wee. All right. So we're just going to go to Marichyasana A. 1 leg at a time, changing in the verticality. So measure it out. We're going to scissor the legs once we're vertical. So walk the feet in, lift 1 leg up, come onto the tippy toes of the bottom foot, and then try to lift the bottom leg to meet the top leg. And once it does, lower the top leg all the way to the floor. And then we're just on the other side. We see our tippy toes start to lift. And just notice how you're controlling this from the core. So at least each side once. If you want to go for more, by all means. Okay, good. And when you are done, we're going to meet in downward dog. Before we do all of our psoas Anjane thing on the other side, let's walk our hands back to our feet and roll up. I'm so lazy that I grabbed my strap before I rolled up because I didn't want to have to bend down again to pick it up. Oh gosh. So find your strap. So all that Anjane stuff, we have our left leg behind us, so we're going to loop up on the left foot. When I say loop up, it's just somehow attached to your foot. And we're going to sling that over our shoulder. The elbow's pointing forward. Then the elbow points up. Then the right arm goes forward and up. And then the elbow bends. So we wind up in our Natrajasana. You just kick more and more until your shoulders say no mas, or maybe your thigh says something first. But the more you kick, the deeper it will go. Good, and let's slowly get out of there. Keep your strap near because you'll need it on the other side in a few minutes. Let's come back to the top of the mat. Inhale. And fold, exhale. Halfway up, inhale. And stepward jump, Chaturanga, exhale. Upward facing, inhale. And downward facing, exhale. Okay, so we'll try the same thing we did in headstand, but this time we're going to do it from Marichyasana C. If you find the interlaced position hard enough, do that again. Otherwise, palms are flat. And our legs are going to do the exact same thing. The measurement of head and elbows is the same. I could even keep my fingers interlaced while I put the head down and then flatten the hands. When you're ready, one leg lifts. The other foot is on tippy toes until the top leg feels strong enough to help you get the bottom leg up. A lot of squeezing in the thighs. And this is great for pointing out our strength inequalities. You'll notice one side is a lot easier. Also notice how with the other version of headstand, you wanted to do it a few times, and now you're like, oh God, I don't want to do it again. So let's meet in downward dog, and we'll get to do all of our Anjanayasanas. Oh, Charlie's back. Hello, little boy. I love you. I think he's watching me. Hi, sweetie. I see you. All right. So let's meet in Anjana with the left leg in front. And we have 3 different styles of hands. This first one, we're just going to reach our right arm up and over. And you might be with the left fingers on the ground or on the block, or you might have your left hand on your thigh. Try not to lean forward too much, more over, up and over. All right, and we'll rise up. We'll take hold of opposite elbows. You might want to unbend the front leg and kind of reset the tailbone down. And then when you can, pull the elbows back and then over to the left. It's like your right elbow is reaching away from your right hip. Oh Lordy, I feel it very deeply. This side has been especially tight since a hike I had a few years ago where it was raining ash, but we didn't know where the fire was. So it was very nerve-wracking. And somehow that nerve got into my hip flexors. Okay, rise up for your Gomukhasana arms. So you could back up to get the arms, you could strap up, however. Left elbows down, right elbows up, and we push the head into the right arm a little bit, throat is open, and then side bend. It doesn't even have to be very big. I go like an inch, and I feel it in the hip flexors and in the psoas. Keep pressing the head back. Okay, and let's slowly get out of there. Ooh, vinyasa. Make sure that everything works. All right. So you probably have already sensed that we're going to do our scissor legs in Marichyasana. Hopefully that sense did not bring with you dread. If you did feel dread, return to a headstand or put a wall behind you. We're going to want to not have too much back bend here. So in pincha, sometimes we look forward. We open the throat a lot. So for this one, just look between your elbows instead of forward so that you're not quite as back bend. And then just give it a try. Same idea as your headstand situation. But we'll probably need a little more of a push from that bottom leg. And just notice you have your favorite side. It's okay to have a favorite side. When we go to do this again in a few minutes, I want you to do your least favorite side first. Okay. So we'll make our way to Natrajasana now. So when you're in your down dog, just take a breath, relax a little, and then start walking. Hands back to feet. You might want to collect your strap as you're walking your hands back so that when you roll up, you're all set. All right, so it'll be now our right foot that gets the strap because that was the leg behind. We'll throw that strap over the shoulder like we are Santa. So keeping on the same plane, elbow up. Left arm, it can still reach out in front of you. You don't have to bring your left arm onto your strap, but if you wanted to, it will be on the same plane. And we just walk the hands toward the foot. It's a very grippy situation. Your fingers are really clinging to that strap. Try kicking a little bit more. John, try to bring your knee in. Yes. Good. And we'll slowly let that go. Ah. Vinyasa. So this time we're going to attempt to balance in pincha. And once we're up there, we're just going to open the legs like 5 inches and then close them again. And that's it. Just a few times. Nothing huge, very minor. Just open, shut, open, shut. If balance is your issue, work that or do it from headstand. Try to kick with the leg that you don't usually go for. Keep your legs strong regardless of if they're open or shut. And the next time you have them shut, squeeze a little harder, reach a little higher, and then come on down and rest in either child's pose or kneeling. Oh, Charlie is so entertained. Oh, I love you, little boy. All right. So let's meet in pigeon. Right leg in front. And we're just going to come onto the forearms. And then we can steer our right hip back a little bit more. Let's move our left hand to replace our right elbow. So our left hand is going to cross in front of us, and our right hand will just come out to the side, and we'll push down into our hand. So our chest literally goes from here toward the ground, up, away from the ground. Either stay here or put your right hand on your thigh and start to add a little twist. Now our right hand is pushing down into the thigh. You can even give yourself a little more external rotation. Get that right hip closer to the floor. This left hand is pulling us across. Think sort of your swastikasana, how you pull into that. Either stay here or bend your back leg. The hamstring is going to work to bring your foot toward you. And then you'll find your foot. It's back there somewhere, and we'll pull it in. So you decide, do you keep in the twist as your focus, or do you add this thigh thing? At this point, my thigh is open enough that it's not distracting from the other things. But if your thighs are tight right now, that might be all you can notice. Okay, let's slowly unravel. And let's swing that back leg around. Bring the right foot down so that it's close to your butt. Your heel is very close to your butt. We're going to hug the knee to the left shoulder and look back. And stay tall. For right now, we're just going to keep our right fingertips on the floor. Just going to bring our left arm to the outside of the thigh and try to push the knee to the left. You might have to think about, what is the left? And as we do that, shifting starts to happen with the hips. We want to try to keep our hips level. So, right hip, in your mind, you're going to have to think right hip forward. Even though you're twisting the opposite. Okay, let's unravel. Let's stand on this right foot. So, and John, with your knee stuff, you're going to come into this a different way. We're just going to take standing split. So some of you with no knee problems, you're just going to lift your left leg. Your right foot was already on the floor. If that doesn't work for your knee, get there a different way. So we're on the right foot, left leg is up. We're going to try to put our hands on the calf muscle. And we're going to pull with our arms to bring our chest closer to our right leg. As we do that, we're going to lift the left leg higher and higher. And you'll notice the stronger your left leg is, the easier it is to balance. That is just like your entrance to something like pincha or a handstand. You need a strong leg to help you balance. Okay, let's place the hands down and vinyasa before the right hip falls apart from working so hard. Okay, left leg forward. Pigeon. It's like 5 minutes ago. But this is where it all started, on the forearms. So we should be feeling something already in the left hip, but in a moment when we move our hand, you can always increase that. So let's bring our right hand across. Palm will replace left elbow. And your left hand will just come out to the side to be a little assistance for the lifting of the chest. Make sure everything is going well so far. If you want a little more, left hand to the left thigh or hip and give yourself a little more rotation. It would be like your fingers rolling the outer thigh down. If you still want more, bend your right leg, reach for it with your left hand, That might be enough, or you might want to pull your foot in toward your right sitting bone. Make sure that it's your right sitting bone and not your left sitting bone. I don't want your knee to be torqued. Let's unravel. We'll swing that right leg around. This is going to be our prep for Marichyasana C and D. First, we just hug the left knee to the right shoulder. And in this prep, we're going to try to sit up tall because slouching in the pose makes it really difficult. Okay, if you can, put your elbow outside of your thigh, and I do this little, I don't think it's a trick exactly, but if I just try to get it there, it doesn't really go so far. It goes to about there. So I take the left hand, I hold the thigh, and I push the thigh over, crossing the midline, so that I can hook my arm better. And then I'll push my knee out again, so that I return to the alignment of having the foot and the knee in line with the hip. So the crossing the midline was just to situate the arm. It was not a permanent scenario. Okay, let's unravel. I have talked quite a bit on that side, and we'll stand on the left foot for your standing split. Right leg up, hands, if you can, to the calf muscle. And your arms are literally going to bend to pull you in. Okay, and let's vinyasa out of there. Let's find our Asana again. And this time, instead of doing the legs like this, just 5 inches open and shut, we're going to do them like this, forward and back. So just like if you're swimming the crawl stroke, those little flutter kicks, like that, but very slow. And if you want to do it from headstand instead, by all means. So we're going to try to initiate movements from the low belly, just like you did when you were in your cat-cows much earlier on. And you go as minor as you want in order to keep your balance. It could be like an inch forward and an inch back. And you'll notice how the legs have to communicate with each other. Because if one overshoots, you end up either out of the pose or at the wall. Okay, very good. So when you've had enough of such things, we're going to meet in down dog. I like how Anouk has 2 areas for practice, the indoor and the outdoor. Okay. So have your strap near you again. We're going to make life a little bit more difficult. Right leg forward in pigeon. And if you want to repeat what we did from pigeon before, by all means do that. Otherwise, we're heading toward king pigeon with the strap. So it's the same as what you did from standing. Well, when you were standing, you only had your little foot on the floor, so it's pretty easy. Now you have this whole leg, your butt, your thigh, everything's on the ground. So maybe you repeat what we did, or maybe your strap is very long. When you feel like you can squeeze your thighs together to keep your balance, then your right hand can come onto the strap as well. Good. We'll stay for like 3 more breaths because everybody's kind of moving at different paces. Okay, and let's slowly get out of there. We're gonna rock to our right hip again. Straighten the right leg and find your Hanumanasana. So you did a standing split, but again, in standing split, it's easier than a regular split because you only have one little foot on the ground. So now you've got two legs to deal with. Keep as much weight in your hands as you want. And once you're in what you think is the spot you want to go for today, energetically bend your right knee a little bit. It doesn't actually have to bend if you don't want it to, but press your heel into the ground and pretend at least that you want your right heel to touch your right hip. And that's just gonna make you a little more square. Take one more breath. Okay, and let's rock to that right hip again. This time swing your left leg around. Oh Lordy. And we'll go for Marichyasana C. You might want to sit on a block for this. It does make it a little more pleasant. So it's the same as what you did before, but we're going to try a bind. So the left arm will hook, and it's possible that what I did on the other side will help you. So with your right hand, push your right leg over to the left so that you can get your arm higher, closer to the armpit. Then the left thumb is going to move down. It's almost going to graze your foot. The palm will be facing out, and then the elbow will bend in front of your shin bone. This takes a ton of shoulder flexibility, so if that didn't work for you, don't worry about it and just stay right here. One day it will happen. The right hand is still on the floor behind us, helping us sit up tall. If you feel like your abdominals are strong enough, just lift your right hand to meet your left hand. The other thing that helps keep you lifted, it's not just abs, it's going to be this right leg pushing to the right. Take 2 more breaths there. I want to see what's happening in the nook land. It's a little dark in your house, Anouk, but it looks good from what I can see. Oh, Sally is winning. Okay, let's unravel. And vinyasa. So we will do all of that again on the other side, but let's go back to our Asana with our little flutter kick of the legs. If it was easy for you, I want you to either make it bigger or get away from the wall. Yeah. If it was not easy, just repeat it. So stability is utmost of importance. So once I get into my balance, I think a lot about my fingers pushing down. And I keep my gaze pretty much in the same spot. Because if I move the gaze, I'll wind up in a bigger back bend or a smaller back bend. And then there's yet another balance thing to deal with. Our legs are sort of enough at the moment. Legs straight, Miss Carol. All right. Let's come on down. That's looking pretty good. And we get to do all of the pigeon, Hanuman, and Mari C on the other side. So left leg forward. And we did all of this earlier in easier fashions. So by all means, repeat that if you prefer. Before we take hold of the strap, check that your right knee is actually behind your right hip. Sometimes it's off to the side and we don't know it. So once it's behind, then take your strap to your foot. And it's to get your foot in, that's all hamstring at first. So before you've actually gotten your strap there, you might find that your hamstring is like working a lot. Okay, and elbows up, or maybe one elbow up. And Anouk, try walking your hands a little further back, and now push your head back a little. Imagine your head is going to touch your toes. And one day your head actually will touch your toes, and then your elbows will touch too. Good. And we'll slowly get out of there. We'll make our way into Asana. So we rock to that left hip just to get our left foot in front of us, and then we square up again. So we have to actually get that left hip off the ground in order to square up. Unless you're like Cirque du Soleil style flexibility, which none of us are. So we're going to keep our left hip up as we approach the floor. Sometimes I see crazy things and then I read someone's bio and I see they used to be like a professional ballerina. I'm like, that's cheating. We're never going to do what you're doing. So press that left heel into the floor and bend your knee a tiny bit. Hello hamstring and hello squareness. Okay, very good. And rock to that left hip again. Swing your right leg around. Bend your left leg. So in Marichyasana A, the foot is pretty far from the body because we need to pull forward. But in C, it's pretty close, maybe like 3 inches here. The end result of the pose, you want this alignment to come back to you. So when you first get into the pose, your knee might do this, and then you're going to have to push into your arm to bring your knee out again. So start to hook your arm, however it suits you. Some people lift their butt off the floor. That would be literally the left heel off the ground, get the hook a little bit higher, and then you can maybe come down again with a new location of arm and leg clinging together. So right hand will lead the charge. You might end up with your knuckles on your right thigh, and over time, your knuckles will move up toward your right hip because your elbow can bend just a little more. So keep looking back and keep pushing your leg into your arm. And John, I saw your exit there. Now flex your left foot. If you're going to be in that other version, flex that left foot. All right, let's slowly get out of there. And vinyasa. Okay. So let's come onto our backs. Jump or step through to lay down. And let's bring our feet to touch and our knees to touch. And just lift your hips a few inches off the ground. You can still relax your shoulders. And maybe lift your hips a little higher, maybe to the point where you have a straight line from hips to knees, or shoulders, hips to knees. And just notice how hard it is to squeeze the knees together. There's a lot of action happening. Such a simple thing, but it's hard. And keeping the knees squeezing together, see if you can just extend your right leg out and lower it down again. And then extend your left leg out and lower it down again. So feet together, ankles, knees together. And just one more time each side. So the knees are still touching. We're just extending through the right toes. And then foot down. And then left leg out. Reach through the toes. And then foot down. And let's lower our butt down. And let's separate our feet about hips width. And we're gonna try to put our hands underneath our hips. I'm just gonna come close to show you where. So it's this part of the hand that's gonna be behind the hip. And then the fingers are gonna curl to the outside. Sometimes folks will do something else, but then your kind of wrists and fingers might get a little crunched. So your fingers will just curl over the outer hip. So lift your hips off the ground. You might want to lift your heels off the ground to get your hips high enough to get your hands under the hip bones. And then once your hands are under there, your hips are now as high as your forearms are long. Potentially, you can lower the heels down again. If your quads are tight or your hip flexors are tight, you might not be able to get your heels down again, but just try. And stay here for a few breaths. I just want to see where we are. Carolyn, can you bring your knees closer together? Yes. Good. Okay, and then come on down. And lift up again. Make a choice. Do you want to do that again? Or do you want to do any other back bend from your back? Anything is fair game, including interlaced fingers or Ardha Matsyendrāsana, etc. Once you get where you're going, you're going to extend your right leg up to the ceiling. You'll see your toes. Then you're going to extend it out like 45 degrees away from you. You won't be able to see it anymore. And you'll bring it up again. And then sole the foot to the floor so that you can do the other side. So the right leg will be very strong as the left leg lifts up, as it reaches out away from you, as it comes up again, and foot comes back to the ground. Slowly release yourself to the floor. Take a breath or two. And we'll just do one more like that. So come into the back bend of your choice. Once you're there, right leg up. The right leg out. Right leg up again. And sole of the foot to the floor. Left leg up. Left leg away. Reach. Left leg up. And sole of the foot to the floor. And come on down. That was hard. Let's do either things like that again, meaning back bends from your back, or we're just going to practice a different way to get into Asana, and it may work for you, it may not. I'll just show you, and then you can play with it. So here we are in down dog B. I'll practice stepping one foot in. The other leg will lift, and I'll just try to bend the bottom leg in toward my chest. So I end up here kind of pointing my toe onto my knee. And I'm going to keep my toe pointed and slide it along the leg until eventually my legs are together. And then I can do the other side, sliding it down, eventually coming down, and then we're on the other side. So see if that works for you. Toe to knee. And the knee, this is important, it's not this passe ballet style. It is forward roquette style, pointing forward. And if that doesn't suit you, either back bends from your back or back bends from pincha that are not what I just said. So Miss Bloom, less wall. There you go. Now slide, Miss Carol, slide a toe down the other leg. Yes. Oh, it was so good until it fell apart. Okay, so one thing that I'm seeing, I don't know if I can demo this. I'm gonna back up to demo this in case it goes awry. So let me see if I can get up there. Whew, I'm trying with the leg I don't usually go with. Okay. So I'm seeing a bit of this happening. The knee is moving back. That is a pose, but instead we're going to be having our knee closer to the chest. So it's forward. So we're not going knee back, back bend, we're going knee down. So try it again. Una vez más. And then we're done with back bends. So whatever you want your final back bend to be, do that. Oh, Carol, that was good. Top leg, point your toes a little more. And Lisa, don't let your foot lift off your other leg at all. Keep it dragging so that you have that midline connection. Good. And when you have done such things, we will meet in downward dog again. We will shake out the head and neck. And we are done with back bends. Good for us. Let's walk our hands back to our feet. We're going to slide our hands underneath the feet so that we can have this nice wrist relief. Palms face up. Bend your knees however much you need to get this positioning. Toes are by your wrists. And as you get more comfortable, you straighten the legs more and more. Okay. And let's walk our hands forward again. Return to your downward dog. And rock into your plank. Exhale to Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing. And exhale, downward facing. And let's bring the knees down. We're just going to do a few cat-cows. See if you can reconnect with the core like you did at 10:02 a.m. So we sort of let it hang out when we inhale. And as we exhale, we can feel Mula Bandha and Uddiyana Bandha come online. And this will help you control how much you arch so that you don't overdo it, so that you don't let it all hang out, so that you know exactly how much it's hanging out. Okay. And then let's just have a seat and bring the legs in front of us. We'll just meet there in Dandasana with our knuckles down. So it's yet another way to get some wrist relief. Shoulders back, belly in. And glue your left calf muscle to the floor, flex your left foot, and bring your right foot in so the heel is near your sitting bone. We're going to go for Marichyasana A. So about 5 inches here between foot and thigh. And don't change your left leg, even though everything else is about to get kind of crazy. Reach your right arm forward as far as you can. Get your armpit in front of your shin bone. And your knuckles of this right hand are going to sort of graze the floor as you come around. And your knuckles will end up near your right hip. The left hand either helps you balance or it comes around and you hold hands. And we'll fold forward any amount, but don't forget how strong your left leg was when you were sitting on it. Or not sitting on it, but sitting with it symmetrical to the right. Okay, and let's rise up. Extend the right leg out. Glue that right leg to the floor. Quads are engaged. Foot is flexed, facing up. And bend the left leg. Right hand will help get us into the position. So in essence, the right hand pushes you forward. You could also have your left hand on the foot pulling you forward. Anything that works for you, do that. Get your left armpit in front of your shin, then wrap your arm around your leg. If you found that the bind from Marichyasana C was difficult, just keep working binds in all of the random poses that they are accessible to you. Maybe a Parsvakonasana, maybe this. The other twists like Ardha Matsyendrāsana and Natrajasana, they help the shoulders get the rotation. All right, let's rise up. Release that left leg out. We're just going to bring our fingers to our belly, just to the side of the belly button, like an inch to the right, an inch to the left. And push back. You're going to feel like you just got kind of kicked, and you're going to feel this nice stretch through your mid back. And keep that shape, but reach forward. And roll down a little bit more. Stay here for a moment. And roll down a little bit more. I like to keep the chin tucked to the chest because otherwise I fall to the floor real quick. Come down a little bit more. You might have to poke at yourself again and come down the rest of the way. And once you're down here, we'll bend the knees. Take a breath. We're almost done, but not quite. We're just going to lift the right leg up and extend it out so that it might or might not touch all the way to the floor, but don't let any wiggle happen in your back. Lift the right leg up again and lower the foot. So there should be just enough space under the back that you can get your fingertips to slide in by your waist. Left leg up. You can imagine a grape is underneath your spine. And lower the leg some amount without squishing grape and without giving the grape any more room. Lift the leg up again and lower it down. So either repeat that one more time each leg, or if you're feeling really strong, you could do it with both legs at once. But we want to maintain stillness through the spine, and I find the two legs at once, it's too hard. But we all have different strengths. I know that for me, core is not my strength. Okay, so let's take both legs up. Take a breath or so here. This is L shape. You can always stay in L shape, or when you're ready, come into shoulder stand. So you can let the hips be supported by the hands, or you can walk your hands further toward your shoulder blades so that your hips are a little higher. It's tempting to bring the toes over the head and be in a pipe shape, but really we're trying to get our feet over our hips. And stay where you are, just staring at your toes. Okay, and start to bring your legs down into Halasana so they may or may not touch the floor. One thing you need to make sure happens is the back of your head pressing into the floor gently. This way your throat will stay open. If you can, interlace your hands, palms together potentially. That might mean that you need to rock a teeny bit side to side and roll your shoulders under you more. And bend the knees in towards your ears. They might have to stop at your temples. You just go descending as you can. Good. Hands to the back again. Lift your legs up and cross your legs into either lotus or some other crossed position. Hands to the knees. So this is all of a mula bandha thing. You're going to think of lifting your butt up toward the ceiling. That will allow you to not need your hands for balance. And your back is pretty straight here. More weight in the shoulders, then you can get the hands free. Good, just hug your knees into the chest and roll down nice and slow. Eventually you'll end up on the ground. And we're just gonna unravel the legs, hold the kneecaps. On your inhale, push your knees away. Exhale, pull them in. Again. Okay, with the knees in close, drop them over to the left, gaze to the right. Through center one leg at a time, so that it's a little easier on your back. Over to the other side. If there's anything else you need, go ahead and do it, whatever it may be. And Chapasana. Just another minute or so. Begin your Shavasana. Let's make our way to sitting. Bring the hands together. On your next exhale, fold forward. Namaste.